Texas Tiger Digs, and this is me opening my big mouth again. This is not a dig video. I've been out detecting. I've got some film of that, so you're going to be seeing my usual hunts and results. Probably by Friday or on Friday. But this is about some questions that I've seen raised a lot, and it's this: why do I need to get the Etrac and not the Safari? Or why should I get the Safari and not the Etrac? Etc. And I think I've got an explanation. Now, I'm not going to say this is going to solve everything, but it's something I came up with while I was using the Safari, and as I've told everybody before, I've had the Etrac and I've tinkered with it enough to understand basically some of what it takes to get it configured, though by no means the intricacies of configuring it correctly and optimally. But let's get something set here that is basically, this is a basic understanding that the majority of people who look at the Safari and look at the Etrac, this is their opinion. There is not 5% difference between functionally in power, etc., between the Etrac and the Safari I have here. There's not that much functional difference. So what we're looking here are two machines that functionally and power-wise are within percentage points of being identical. Most people give the Etrac a slight edge in performance, maybe 3, 4, 5%, and you may believe there's more. That's basically what I'm basing some of this on right here, and I believe that that's probably right. I've gotten very good results for the Safari. Now, when MindLab came up with these two detectors and put them at pretty widely varying price points, the Etrac is a good 33% more than the Safari, so they had to make sure that these machines' price points reflected the difference. And they knew that they had created, and to their great respect and to their great credit, they created two machines, one within the range or mid-range or even maybe the outer range of quite a few detectorists, the Safari, and then they created the Etrac, which at the time when they created it was the top of the range, and for the more prosperous detectorists, etc. So they had to make sure that these two machines were different. So what they had to do was cripple the Safari without crippling the Safari. And they did it in a very, very, very ingenious way. I've been using the Safari consistently. It has this, the 40 range, 0 to 40 or whatever, and then the negative range, etc. But if you look in there, there is a genius in that by using that frame, we know how the Etrac does its conductivity and ferrous, and you can determine what you got by calculating those differences and seeing the number range difference, and then you can sometime come up with as much accuracy as you can with any detector what you're digging. So what they did, and understand these are two different scales, ferrous and conductivity, so they're very, very intricate, very, very precise. They designed this machine to be exactly the opposite. What they did was created large categories. I can find pennies in this, zincs, anywhere from 31 to 36, 35, 36. I found zincs in there. I've even found zincs that maybe edging into 37. But when I get from 37 on this reading up to max 40, and that's the range that most of us will be doing most of our digging in. It's just the nature of coins and the nature of what we're trying to do. So what we've got here is this range, 37, 38, 39, 40. And that's where the majority of things we're going to be digging in. That's where silver is going to fall. That's where silver coins are going to fall, more than likely. And that's where copper pennies are going to fall. and clad dimes and quarters are going to fall, and any other variety, dollar coins, etc. A hot, bigger clad is also going to be in there as well as, you know, silver dollars, etc. I'm not discussing gold here. I'm just discussing the coin shooters range. So what we've got here in that range is 4, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40. 4 large categories. So you split it up into 4 categories. Now, I've come to the conclusion that the majority of the time when I dig 37, I'm looking at a penny. The majority of the time when I dig 38, I'm looking at a dime. Maybe the majority of the time I'm digging at 39, I'm looking at a clad quarter, a silver ring, etc. Could be 38, 39. And at 40, I can get quarter up in that range, but I also get in a lot of rusty and large bottle caps and very high ghost conductivity type things that have no value but high conductivity. So what they did was they split this up, and they split it up in such a way that I can find a penny from 37, and I found pennies up to 39. I found dimes at 38. I found dimes at 39 up to 40. I found quarters that were at 38, 39, 40, etc. So what you have here is these large breakdowns and of categories that give you some indication but not a lot. Now let's go to the Etrac. The Etrac and its ferrous and its conductivity range. You get 1540, 15 whatever, 1240, 1243. You pretty much know you're probably looking at a large clad coin or hopefully silver. And there are other ranges in there, and I'm not as intimately acquainted with them as I once was. But basically what you have is a very precise measurement. Now that's not to say your results are going to be precise. What you have here is a category, and these categories will drive you nuts because you'll find pennies all over the place, you'll find dimes all over the place, you'll find quarters all over the place, etc. So that's a little bit bothersome here. And the thing is that the people in Mind Lab understood that what people are buying a detector for is less its power and more of its ability to discern what's underneath the soil. Experienced detectorists know that we just want a ballpark because we're going to dig most everything. So basically what I'm saying is this, and another thing that they did that was very, very smart. Let me push the button here, switch this on. So now, so what you got here is this large breakdown of categories. And the other thing they did was smart was they put the little picture here. So you're going out there and you're going to have your guys with the Etrac with its patterns and its dual designations of ferrous and conductivity, and you're going to be playing with something that's going to give you this little toy signal symbol up there. This is not a toy. Don't think I'm insulting this machine at all, but that's a very smart design feature because that immediately means you are in kindergarten. So step on up to the Etrac and step on up to junior high, or up to college. So basically what it does by putting these little symbols there, telling you that that this is a real basic machine. There you go, see, 38. 38. See there, as long as they give you those real little simple signals, what they're saying is you're not smart enough to figure out what this is. Now I'm not saying, but I'm just saying that's the impression they want to give. Very, very smart by the designers. So basically what I'm getting down to is this, other than looking at the ingenuity of the design and differences that were made between the Etrac and the Safari. Now I'm not getting into the Etrac tones. It's a two-tone ferrous in its various configurations. Now those are bits and pieces that can be tinkered on by experts, but the majority of us are brute force guys. You just tell me the range it's in and we're going to dig it. And even the majority of Etrac people are the same way. They see that range 9 times out of 10. If it's any vaguely within the range they think it should be, they're going to dig it. So basically what I'm saying is if you want a good machine, that with similar power, the Safari is a good choice. Now the Etrac has its intricacies, and it will give you a better idea of what you're digging precisely. But if you don't need that, like I don't, I'm just going to dig it if it's in the range. That's just the way I've learned how to detect. Then that's not something you need to worry about. So the Safari will be fine if that's your attitude. But if you like the idea of discrimination patterns, etc., much of which you could do basically with the cursor and Xing out here, but you know, the graphical display of the Etrac is better, etc. So I'm not saying that one is better than the other. I believe the Etrac is definitely a machine with some expertise. You could probably get a little bit more out of it than you can for the Safari. But I'm just trying to tell you this, that if you just want a good solid machine that'll give you a good range of what you're digging and some idea, go to Safari. If you can comfortably afford the Etrac, and this, you can say this about Rolls Royce. If you can comfortably afford a Rolls Royce, then why buy a Honda Civic? Buy the Rolls Royce. It makes no difference to you. The same way with the Etrac. If you can comfortably afford to buy the Etrac and the bits and pieces that make it a more precise machine, etc., go for it. The difference. So if you like precision, if you like the idea that you can tinker and get a percentage point or two differences, you buy the Etrac. If you're a big brute force, I'm going to find it, I'm going to get a ballpark, I'm going to dig it, guys. There's no reason not to get the Safari. If you can comfortably afford the Etrac, get it. If you cannot comfortably afford the Etrac and you can't comfortably afford Safari, get it.